Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. I'm your host, John, back with my better half, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm great. How are you
All
doing?
right. I'm good. A little tired, been busy, a lot going on at work, a lot going on outside of work. I did a roast this week. That was exciting.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about it?
The roast of Kevin Ogar. You know how stressful it is when you have to come up with jokes for someone who's paralyzed and they ask you to do it and you're trying to not get canceled, but the jokes need to be funny enough to get canceled. There's a delicate balance.
Ain't
It's a
that
real
the
delicate balance.
entire adaptive community, truly? Ain't that them? Where they're like, no, 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 really, do your worst. And you're like, I am terrified to do my worst. Is it going to be funny? Is it going to be wildly offensive? I don't know. And they're
Well,
like,
I
yeah, just
Look, I told them, I'm like, first of all, it's stressful for there's I get this a lot. This is true. I get this a lot, which is people expect me to be funny. That's the whole point.
mm.
They asked me, they're like, oh, he's a meme lord. He must be funny. And so I told him, I'm like, I don't do stand up, but neither does Kevin. So that works out for us,
But
And that's
meanwhile,
that's
all I can think of is that scene from Finding Nemo where they're like, you're a clownfish. Tell us a joke.
that's exactly what it was like. And it
Mhm.
was funny because I honestly I never do like events where I'm the only one speaking and people have to listen and you're expecting laughter. And so it was interesting to have that stand up moment where some things like really landed good. And I got because there was a crowd. I'm like, it was online, but there was people there and you could hear them. And some of it got huge laughs that I wasn't expecting. And some of it just bombed. And
Mm.
so I was like, this is interesting. Like maybe I would have enjoyed being a stand up comic. You learn a
It's
lot,
not
like in
too
that short
late.
moment.
It's
Oh,
not too
it's
You
way
don't
too
think
late.
you'd wanna do it again?
Oh, I'd do another roast of people like I kind of like I know Kevin. He's been on our show a few times,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and so I know him pretty well. I mean, got each other's phone numbers. So, I felt it was one of those things. I know him well enough to make jokes, and there's clearly like a kind of a target they were wanting me to land in. So that's easy enough. And it's CrossFit, so that makes it easy too. But it was still kind of weird. Like I can see how that would be a really hard living for
Yeah.
people. Trying to make people laugh is a little stressful.
I don't think I could handle being roasted publicly. I think I could do it with my friends if it were, like, private event. I guess it wouldn't be very funny.
I went into it with this mindset. First of all, everyone has something that they're going to make fun of. So Kevin's
For
is clearly
sure.
he's in the wheelchair. So I try to stay away from the Kevin can't stand up jokes other than the stand up one because that one was easy. I tried to lean on the fact that he's just pasty white and this that's
Mm,
just really, really easy to go after as someone who is also pasty white. Like I got a lot of those, Kevin's so white jokes. And those landed really good, so that was fun. And, I got to
okay.
take a few shots at CrossFit because he works for CrossFit, so that was fun too. And it was a good time, and they were raising money for charity, which was the whole point. We just weren't picking on a guy in a wheelchair, but it was fun. So I enjoyed it. And it's
Okay.
still online. If people want to go watch it and cancel me after the fact, they're welcome to do so. I've been canceled once. I can be canceled again, I guess. So
Where can they
it's all
find
good.
it?
I have no idea. Willwad?
Oh,
No, it
great.
was CrossFit Watchtower.
Okay.
Said I
That's
was thinking Jehovah's Witness, and I was close.
Oh my god.
I was they hand out the
Perfect.
watchtower. That's
Yeah,
that's their
yeah.
thing.
Listen, it's really hard to name affiliates nowadays. We can have a whole discussion about with our guests tonight because
Yes,
it's rough out there.
introduce our guests who are friends of the show, but they're your besties, so introduce our guests.
Okay, yay. I never get to do this. John always gets
I
to do
know.
this. Well, tonight on the show are our besties, Rob Morales and Steph Morales, also known as Steph Chung. And I am particularly excited to have you guys on tonight because you just opened an affiliate and I am like beyond words excited for you guys. It is a huge moment to run a gym of your own, especially we'll talk about your histories in a minute and being in the sport for so long and being a part of several other gyms in our community. But I'm just made of questions when it comes to what is going on in your guys' life.
And as someone who owns an affiliate, the only question I have is, what were you thinking? Jesus.
We can start there. Can we
Yeah,
start
let's
with
start there.
with that? Let's Rob, I want you to answer this question first because you have been working on the back end of gyms for about 150 years now. And so you have
Give
a
or
ton
take,
of
yeah.
experience in running a gym. Can you give us a brief history actually of like where you've been and what you've done now being an affiliate owner extraordinaire?
Yeah. So in a I kind of joke in a previous life, I owned a couple of fitness franchises in Houston and was really focused on bodybuilding, science training. And that was kind of what my lifestyle was about. It kind of got to a point where I realized, I may have looked good, but I didn't have any fitness. And that's
Mm,
what sparked the catalyst for looking for something new. And, just like so many other stories. I found CrossFit. We ended up doing a workout behind the gym, empty barbell, box jumps to a curb and some burpees. And it just wiped us. And it was fantastic. We loved it. So drank the Kool-Aid on day one. We ended up building out like a little CrossFit section. I got my L1 and just kind of realized after a while, like this, my passion wasn't that bodybuilding side anymore. It wasn't just trying to sell memberships and have 1,000 members and not know anybody's name. I wanted to get into CrossFit more. So moved on from those projects and actually traveled for a while. Went to go visit a very close friend that was stationed in the Middle East. And when she was at work, I went to the CrossFit gym that had literally just opened like a month before. And being certified, I'm like, hey guys, I'm here for 2 weeks. I've got nothing to do during the day. Happy to come on out and, just going to help out. They took me up on it. And what turned into 2 weeks, I went back home. They said, hey, why don't you come on back? And so that was
mm.
a month. I'll give you 30 days. I'll come on back and we'll do that for a little bit. Went back home, was like, man, I really like that. That was a lot of fun. Went back for another month and became 3 months and 6 months and kind of kept on going till we finally ended up from that location, building that out to other locations in Qatar. And so the first CrossFit gym that was located out there, then helped open the first locally owned CrossFit gym, which was at the time called CrossFit Arata, with some great guys there. Went from there to Abu Dhabi, running a multi-fitness gym that included a CrossFit affiliate, and then brought it on back to Boston, where Steph is from, after we got married, and have most recently been the manager and head coach at Invictus Boston before we opened up our own affiliate.
That is a bananas journey.
Thinking the
Like,
same
how do
thing.
you casually just move to the Middle East for a while? No big
Yeah,
deal.
I mean, sometimes those opportunities come up and you just got to jump on it.
Yeah, for real. Do you know that, Steph, you and I met like right before you left on your honeymoon? Remember? Right?
Yeah. We I think we met for the first time in Italy?
Yeah. We became besties in Italy because
Yeah.
after the competition, we all went out for dinner, and I had no idea yet how y'all elite athletes eat. No clue. And then I probably have told this story on the podcast, but I feel like it's been a million years. We were sitting across from Noah Olson, who ordered ice cream first. And then we were at an Italian restaurant. So he ordered a pineapple full of ice cream for his, and then like a pizza and a burger. I think his pizza might have had french fries on it. It was like intense. And I was like, damn, okay, work hard, play hard. And at that point, we were looking at a menu full of pizzas because Italy, and Steph was like, I want 6 of these. Do you want to just share them all? I was like, did we just become best friends? Yes. Yes, I do want all of these pizzas, please.
That is actually so true. All of it, the 6 pizzas included. Rob can attest every single time we go out, I have like 6 things that I can't decide between. And if I can rope someone into sharing any of them with me so I can, in fact, order all 6, I will do it.
Yes. And it rubs off on everyone because I've never felt sicker than when me and Matt and Rob and Steph all go out for dinner together.
Yeah.
There have been like 2 separate occasions where I left literally being like, you must roll me out of the restaurant. I have expanded that much and I never ever want to eat again. Where it'll be like dinner the next night by the time Matt and I are like, guess I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah.
I guess we could. Anyway, I digress. So, Steph, along this journey, you and I met in Italy, you got married, did your trip, whatever, 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 and then ended up moving back to Boston. And then you also went through this transformation of your career from all day, everyday athlete to now full time PA. Can you kind of give us a quick story on where you're at these days?
Yeah, so I started working back in November at a hospital in the Boston area. I work in the surgical ICU. So we deal with almost everything that comes out of the operating room and requires ICU level care. So it's been a long 7 months. I can't believe it's been 7 months. It feels like 3 years, but it also is like only 7 months. It's amazing. I love my coworkers. I love my division. I love what we do. I think it was the perfect choice for me coming out of PA school. It was a hard thing to choose out of PA school. The learning curve was steep, but I have some really good coworkers who are great at training me, and I have zero regrets. It's so fun. I work like 3 days a week, 13-hour days, which is long, but I get the
Dang.
rest of the days to myself. So I
Mhm.
love that. And I think it's the best job ever. Like I love being a PA. I have absolutely zero regrets about choosing to change my career, even though it was a little bit of a scary leap. Rob can attest that we were both a little bit nervous about leaving a very good full-time job, but I love it. Now I get to split my time between the gym and the hospital, and I think it's a really good balance for me.
So a massive shift for both of you guys in the last just little bit, truly. And now that you look at your place in life and sort of like this season, what about where you're at these days, Rob, made you say, okay, now Steph's got this job. Now I really want to head my own gym after all of this experience that I've had in the past. It's gonna be mine. What
Yeah.
switched that? No, wait, what flipped that switch for you?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that was the plan when we moved back to the Middle East originally in 2018. I made the move first. Steph had to finish up her contract and then followed shortly after. And we started to look around and explore those options and what that would look like. And we actually came very close to a location out in New Jersey with a close friend and opening that place. The lease was signed and this fell apart magically at the last second. That a crazy thing happened and the world went on pause. And we kind of put all those dreams and those hopes kind of to the side. And it actually presented a great opportunity for Steph to go back to school and pursue that
Mhm.
PA career. Since a lot of stuff was like online and people, especially in Boston, were very cautious about, coming back into gyms and stuff. It was just the perfect opportunity for her to pursue that. And then once she finished and started working at the CQ, we kind of looked at each other like, yeah, this is it. The timing's right. We're both ready. Let's go for it.
Yo, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How was 2018 not 2 years ago?
Like
Right?
I said,
Like,
all blur spaghetti back there. I don't
so you guys have gone through truly massive life changes in the last few years. And I'm curious to know, Rob, when the opportunity finally presented itself and you were like, a gym of my own, totally do this. Now I'm going to run it the way I want to. How in the world do you figure out how to open a brand new CrossFit gym and have it stand out from the sea of all the other CrossFit gyms and where we're at in the sport right now? Because it was kind of like growing, 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 getting crazy. I mean, some people might think that the curve is coming back down the other way, but either way, you have to figure out how to be this unique standout gym that people want to go to while also being sort of like the same good old CrossFit that everybody knows and loves. That's a weird mix. That's a weird formula. So how are you doing it at your affiliate?
Yeah, and I mean, it's tough, especially in the Boston area. We've got some gyms like Invictus that I mentioned, 10 plus year affiliate, CrossFit New England, and some other like really big names in the area that people just know, in the entire CrossFit community. So what we ended up doing was we kind of took our experiences of all the different gyms that we've worked at and been to, traveled to, and as far as like with Steph's competitions, when we personally travel, we always going to drop in and we've learned a little bit from every single one of those visits. And we've taken those little pieces, whether it be like how the facility's kitted out, what the floor plan's like, but most importantly, what the experience is like when you come in that gym, that there's somebody there to welcome you and those kind of things. And we believe if we have that, that's what's going to make us stand out. We're not going to be the big shiny 40,000 square foot gym that's just going to be like the mecca for people to come to. But for our small community, we're going to be the most standout affiliate that we can be.
John, do you feel that kind of pressure too? I know that you have an existing affiliate. It's not like you opened your doors yesterday, but that kind of pressure to be both unique enough to draw people in, but also the same enough that people are comfortable with dropping in and having, a level of, I don't know, a level of like comfort that it's the same old CrossFit that they know and love, gym to gym.
I mean, I draw them in with my charm, Nikki, so
Of
that
course.
helps.
With your
Um,
humor. They come
yeah,
for the stand up.
they do. They come for the stand up. Yes and no. I mean, I don't personally feel it. We're an existing gym in a kind of a 10-year, almost a 10-year gym in a really small village, right? The village of Sugar and Falls. And so I mean, bluntly, we have no competition. It's
Got it.
just fair as I can put it. So we are the CrossFit experience for our little town. But I fully agree with Rob. I think there's someone asked me this question the other day if I what I thought was the bigger risk to CrossFit, was it private equity or poorly run gyms? And I'm like,
Mm,
I don't think private equity is affecting us at all. I think it's absolutely the inconsistency from gyms that's the biggest risk to CrossFit. And Rob said it in the perfect way, which is there's an experience that has to happen when you walk in the door. That's it's got to be welcoming and comfortable and engaging. And I believe there also has to be, this is the wrong word for it, but kind of a slight intimidation factor. Like it needs to feel challenging. You know what I mean? Like you want to feel like I'm coming here to get something done. I'm not, I'm not sure, I am showing up to see my friends and have fun and whatever, but you're also coming there to accomplish something, and you need that sense of accomplishment to get people to come back. Like people need that drive in their life, something that's going to push them to be greater than themselves. And I think affiliates can absolutely provide that in the experience they provide. It's a little bit like we're also not that 40,000 square foot gym that Rob's describing. We don't even pretend to want to be that. And I think, and very few gyms are that. It's really more about the people. Are you greeting them when they walk in the door? Are you engaging with your members when they're warming up? Is the coach active in the warm up and a part of that? Or are they just off on the side texting their friends? You guys have seen this before, right? Yeah. So there's so many layers to it that I think are important that you have to consider when you're running these gyms. They're no different than any other retail business on the planet in that regard. Like CrossFitters are weird. We all think that our gyms invented, a retail business, and it's no different than, I don't know, pick your poison. Like any retail business on the planet has to have these qualities to be successful. The difference for us though is we have to grow community. Like our customers are not going to come in, window shop and leave. They're coming in to do something, doing work. And so there's a community aspect I think you have to build. So it was a super long answer to say community is the big thing for me.
is it a good time to start an affiliate? John, you just did a whole
Oh,
a whole video
that
on is CrossFit dying?
was a clickbaity title, let's be fair.
Hey,
But
listen, it's a great question though at the end of the day, because you look at trends in business and in fitness, and Rob's, you've been in fitness for a long time in different elements of it. Is it a good time to open
ooh,
an affiliate?
I want to formulate the question deeper, and then I'm dying to hear from Rob and Steph on this. So the average CrossFit gym owner makes 60 grand a year. That's the average. So just think of it like this. Like I'm gonna get all bankery and nerdy on people, but I've been kind of working on a sketch for an episode anyway. So I'll give you the sneak peek.
Ooh,
So if you have 12,000 affiliates and the middle point, the average is 60,000. And the high point, if I'm remembering the numbers right, I haven't written down somewhere. The high point is like, let's just call it 140 is the
okay.
high point, right? That's the best. The best of the best are earning 140. And I'm sure there are some that are earning more than that, but that's the tiniest 0.01%. So you have to exclude them, right? And you say your medium is, right in the middle is 60,000. Your high end is 140. So it doesn't like gradually ramp up to 140. You actually got probably 75% or greater of those 12,000 affiliates earning less than 75,000 a year, right? That's just the
Yeah.
reality of running the gym. And that, by the way, is with 150 members. I'm not talking about gyms that have like 50 members. I'm talking about gyms that are busy,
Yeah.
and that's just the reality of it. So, I think there's this kind of mythology that, gym owners are just sitting in their office counting their $100 bills and just loving life. And this is a hard freaking job requires a lot of hours, even though it doesn't look like it does. It absolutely does. And the money's hard to come by. And you've got a clientele base, if you're not building a good community, that's, going to turn over pretty quick. So it's a tough
Wow.
job. Yeah, I just
So
painted
we're
a
just
great picture.
I mean, I think that highlights a great point that anybody who really gets into the ownership side of things, or even like just the coaching side as a full-time career, we don't do it for the money. Like it's
yeah.
not money that gets me up at 4 o'clock in the morning to open the gym early and go set up the rowers before everybody gets there. That's not what motivates me to do that. But when members come in and we have those connections, both coach to athlete and athlete to athlete, and you see that community foster, that's the stuff that motivates me. when I finally get somebody to, hit full depth on an air squat, when it's something that we've been working on for 6 months, that's the stuff that really shines the brightest for me and keeps me motivated. Money will be there. And as long as we can pay the bills, we're happy. Yeah, it's got to be more than that.
I made it sound really negative, didn't I? I feel bad. I didn't mean to. I should have teed
Don't
it up.
you're poor because you run an
Oh,
affiliate. Tell us how you feel.
well,
Yeah.
there's so much more that goes into it though, because it isn't like everyone's on the same playing field or everyone has the same motivation. To Rob's point, of those
Yeah.
12,000 affiliates, there's a significant number that could give a rat's ass about money. They're not
Yeah.
doing it for the salary. They're not doing it for the end game. As a matter of fact, a lot of those affiliates are owned by 3 or 4 people that just want a place to do hood rat stuff with their friends. Like they just want to
Also
get
true.
together and throw shit around. So, that, and they're factored into that average. So, Rob's 100% right. If you run it right and you build it the way it should be built, there's good money in it, like really good money in it. But it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get it there. And it takes a lot of years. I guess that's kind of my question for Rob is, and for Steph, when you guys went into this, what's the long-term vision for you?
Yeah.
Because for me, that's the big thing for these gyms. Most of them flame out after 3 years.
Our concept is slightly different. And like I said, this kind of goes back to having all those different experiences and what we wanted to bring for our gym. At our capacity, we want to have a class cap of 10 people. So
No
our
shit.
facility is just under 4,000 square feet. We built it out like to the nines. Everything's beautiful. Steph did a great job of helping with like the interior design and all the colors and everything like that. But we really want to value that coach and athlete relationship, that when you come in, I of course know who you are, but I also know what goals you're working on. I also know exactly where you are, like in scaling. And is this a good day to have this modification or to bump up your weight? So for us, if we get to that level, like that's the end game. We wouldn't want to expand into 10,000 square feet and try to have classes of 30 people, because at that point you just kind of lose that connection.
Wow.
I love the small class size and I hate the small class size. I love it for what you're describing because that intimate coach relationship is awesome. And an intimate coach relationship sucks when you can't squat below parallel or you just want to come in and
Head
screw
ball over
around.
to you, John.
Yeah. I've been in those classes that have 3 or 4 people in it, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, the coach is gonna be on my ass for this entire hour," and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a better athlete for it. I am
Yeah.
absolutely a better CrossFitter because of it, and I have so many coaches I should thank for doing that to me. But I could tell you just as a member, there were moments where I'm like, "Oh my god, please more people show up for this class because I don't wanna get yelled at for the next hour."
Yeah, there's definitely like some balance in there, but winning to push certain people in certain ways. Uh, but as one of the biggest things that we've been surprised by in opening this affiliate was the amount of people that have never tried CrossFit before. So I
Yeah.
would say almost half of our membership base are people who saw us on Instagram that were open up, we're in the neighborhood, not doing anything for fitness, never done CrossFit. I want to come try it. And I really
Yes.
think if they were to jump into a class of 30 people, that they just would have been lost. They
Yeah.
may have had a good time, but they'd be like, you know what, this is too technical. It's too difficult. I'm going to hit the road and never be seen again. We've seen some great changes with people where, yeah, like I said, it's their first time and they're just loving it now.
Are there any common denominators that made them wanna start?
It's been a variety of reasons. I wish I could pin it on one thing, but I do think it's mostly we're the new guys in the neighborhood, and especially like where we're located.
I'm really intrigued these days on the debate of how many people don't have any idea what CrossFit is. And so you may have to update me on this at a later point. And how well known the brand is, and people just haven't tried it because those are two different things. Like people that don't have any clue what it is wildly different than somebody goes, "Yep, I know what that is. I'm just too scared to do it, or I've never gotten
Yeah.
around to it."
Yeah, so far everybody has had some idea of what CrossFit is. How true that idea is has varied, but most of them have seen something on, like I said, Instagram, YouTube, or aware of the CrossFit Games at a capacity. So we always get to do the fun. Okay, those are the professional athletes. That's not what we do
Right.
here on a
Yeah.
regular basis. We're normal people just like you. And then I have to make sure Steph is hiding in the corner. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I was going to ask that. Do they think you're a superhero, Steph? Because when I started, my classes would literally be Julie Fouché and Scott Panchek, and I thought that was normal. I just thought I was the weakest person on the planet, And that, here's Julie Pache over here throwing around this crazy weight. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just might as well go crawl in a hole and die somewhere. I just had no clue. Do they think you're a superhero?
Some of them do. Some of them do. I mean, I think more than they say to me, I think they say it to Rob, and then Rob's, oh yeah, by the way, that like XYZ follows you or something, and or said they joined the gym because like you posted something. Everyone's really nice about it. I certainly have known working out in gyms before that people have voiced like Steph's in the class. This is going to be great. But no one has said a single word in the classes that I've joined.
Now, is she cutting out for you guys?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
lost her.
my internet is, yeah, my internet.
We'll just blame Noble. That's their fault.
Yeah. They
It's a
should have
Noble
gotten
fault.
you a hotspot.
I
What are they
know.
thinking?
This is what happens when Tom Brady takes over. That's the
Am I
the real
back?
problem. You're kind of back. You're kind of not back. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you might be in and out.
Maybe a little
Sort of.
bit. I do love that concept though. I need to get to Boston and see one of these classes because I love
Mhm.
watching the look on people's faces when they're around a games level athlete or a games athlete and they have no idea what's about to happen. Right. And then it happens and they're like, oh my God,
Oh.
I am so unfit. Or they're just like in awe. Like they don't even know what to say. It's the best.
It's it is funny. I mean, everyone I think has been really casual to me about it. No one said anything to me. I do know someone in class that I was with the other day who had not worked out with me, but knew I went to the games. We were front squatting, I think, and she was like, "What weight is on your bar?" You know what I mean? Like that. Like, how much do you have on there? And one of the members mentioned to me the other day, like saying, looking at like talking about how many rounds I thought I was going to get. And he was like, yeah, every time I think I do a really, really solid workout, you go and post 3 or 4 rounds more than me. And I'm like watching the leaderboard, you know? But
Well,
I think it's nice. I think like one of the things I've really enjoyed as stepping away from competition a little bit this year, opening this affiliate with like working out with class again. For years and years, I obviously did my own programming, even jumping into class. Like I would sometimes, but it's hard to do other things when you're on such rigid programming. But it's been really fun to work out with other people and then put my score on the leaderboard and chat about it. And people are like, oh, like what, how did you break this up? Or what do you think about this? And I've missed that community aspect of it. And I think we have really great members and they're really interactive on the leaderboard and they like look at other people's score, give people the little fire sign on push press. And I think that's awesome.
you know what I would love to do with you guys? So everyone's going to get a sneak peek on this. Nikki knows about this,
Oh,
but
I'm so excited.
she's one of the few people that know. So I had lunch with Scott Panchek last week, and we're going to start a video series on my other channel called Me versus Scotty P. And we're going to go head to head doing benchmark workouts. But the concept is it's kind of like where you take a normal person and you throw them into the Olympics against an athlete, right? But
Sure.
yeah, but here's what we're going to do though, is we're going to see how far down we have to scale me to where I can keep the same level of intensity and finish roughly around the same time.
It's perfect.
Right. So a lesson in
It's like,
scaling.
don't do it,
Yeah.
John. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
Don't.
No, no, no. And I would not consider myself an above average athlete in general, but I'm a decent CrossFitter, particularly for a 50-year-old. Right. So it'll be an interesting concept. So I think it would be interesting to come do that with you guys and see what that would look like. We'll video it, put it on the channel, and then you can use it with your members to say, hey, when you're thinking of scaling, like what you do as an elite athlete is no different than what I do as a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
We just, we're doing all the same stuff. I just have to scale mine to move as quick as you or to have the same level of intensity. And what that breakdown looks is, different for each workout and different for each person. So it'd be interesting to come do that. So I mean, may need to take a trip to Boston and see your
Yeah.
gym and let you guys beat me down.
I've never done Isabel with an empty barbell, but it sounds like I might have to.
You're welcome
Well,
anytime.
Well, that's the challenge like that. I think that's what will make the video in the series interesting is I'm going to have to set some ego to the side. Right. I mean, like I've CrossFitted for 12 years now and now that you said that out loud, I'm like, shit, I am going to have to do Isabel with an empty barbell to go against Scott. And that bums me out a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see it. Is that really what I will have to do? Or can I do it at 65 pounds or, put some ones on the end? I don't know, like something to, you know, keep my
57
fragile,
pounds on your bar, John.
whatever it takes. But, I just think it's an interesting concept for people to see. But I think from a CrossFit lesson, it's important for these new members, Rob, like you're describing, that don't know anything about CrossFit. They just want to get fit. And they look at Steph like a superhero and they're like, I can never do that. And they're not understanding the real lesson that it isn't about doing that. It's about achieving your own goals and working at your level of intensity, because my level of intensity and Steph's are wildly different. I can tell you that just from watching her Instagram page. So I think it'd be
I don't
fun.
know. I'm more normal now, John. More
That's not
normal
true.
now.
No, I see what you're still posting on Instagram. You posted something the other day and I literally was like, yeah, she still got it. She's still killing it
Hmm.
over there. So it's true.
So that actually is the
Well,
perfect
thank
segue
you.
into sort of a larger conversation I want to have with you guys. Wait, actually, I take it back. First, I have a tiny little question. I don't even think we introduced your gym, CrossFit Attain. Give us
Oh,
like the
yeah.
details, like where it is, what it's called, how you named it, all that stuff, and then I'll ask the bigger question.
So CrossFit Attain, we're in Woburn, Massachusetts. Like I said, we are a smaller facility geared towards classes of about 10 people. Helps us have a bigger impact, especially with like seasoned athletes who need to have eyes on them and want to get better. They've been doing this for a
Yeah.
long time, but they haven't improved. They've been stuck in certain places. We have the ability to do that. And I also mentioned, like, with newer athletes, people who are new to CrossFit, we're able to be a lot more hands-on and able to introduce them slowly into the sport.
How did you
Yeah.
find the name? I know it is so hard to name affiliates now because number one, like
Oh,
all the
no
names are
doubt.
taken. Number two,
Yeah.
legacy names are taken. Number three, you can't use friggin' proper nouns, zip codes. You can't use towns. You can't use anything that rhymes with schmogue, whatever.
So, to be honest, thesaurus.com, and then a lot of
Yeah.
just like names back and forth. Yeah.
You can use the internet though, and it can
Yes.
generate a lot of options for you. We we basically picked we brainstormed words that, you know, gave the same vibe as what we wanted to have at our facility so that people
Yeah.
said it and they said, yeah, that sounds like a place I would align with and want to go train. And then we did a lot of like thesaurus.com synonym searching, just what gives us like a good feel, keeps that same message, but isn't used. And we did a lot of Googling of
Hmm.
CrossFit XYZ, in Canada, next
Right.
one, you
Right.
know?
They a million years ago, seriously, 10 years ago, I worked at Again Faster for 5 minutes. Remember them? Yeah. And we had in the office, we had a whiteboard of the craziest CrossFit affiliate names. This was like 10 years ago, I'm telling you, and it was bananas back then. In fact, there was one called CrossFit Banana. It was like we kept a list on the whiteboard of the silliest, craziest affiliate names because back then people used to call Again Faster and you would work with someone on the phone to come up with the layout of your rig and they would like custom build whatever. And so we would talk to people from affiliates all over the world. And we were like, damn, it's hard to name affiliates. That was back then. Can you
Yeah.
imagine all the affiliates that have opened and closed? And if one of them's closed, I still don't think you can even take that name like later
Yeah.
on. It's
It has
gone.
to be a while. It has to be a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy. We came up with a list of a couple, and then you have to submit to CrossFit because they can choose whichever one they want. So, but we liked that name,
It's a great
and I
name.
feel like we've really fit into that name.
CrossFit's very serious these days. They won't let you name one CrossFit Haktua. Like they just
No.
won't do it. It's terrible. They don't have any fun like they used to.
There was
Man.
like a CrossFit Killer Bunny or something like that back then. I
That's a great one.
swear I could
Great
not
name.
make that up. So, anyway, the larger question that I wanted to kind of broach with you guys centers around the idea of balance because you two are a couple of the busiest people that I know. You've got hands in all sorts of different things. You've been all over the world doing this CrossFit thing for so long, but now you also, Steph, you have this PA job and you guys just bought a new house. I don't understand. As someone who's terrible at balance personally, and currently trying to balance having two kids and going back to work, and I am like the hot mess express every single day. I would love to get an understanding of how you are balancing this new task, this new responsibility of owning this business. And even, to your point, Rob, like really closely handholding people on their health and wellness journeys. Like, how are you balancing this monumental feat with everything else that you have going on in your lives?
Yeah. There's two different parts there. The first one, I mentioned before that when Steph and I just kind of realized like it was time that,
Yeah.
everything was right, that I could set aside, all our other goals, all of the things that we like to do, traveling and going out to dinners, those kind of stuff. And we could really just focus on this. And this is going to be my focus for the next few years. And hopefully we grow it, bring some more coaches on and all of that. But on the other side, the biggest balance I get is from Steph herself. When she's not at the hospital, she picks up shifts. She's a fantastic coach. And for her to be able to come in and just give me a couple hours of extra sleep or just a chance to like just get out of my, my routine and just kind of clear my head and come back in fresh, it's been a super huge help.
I mean, likewise, Rob has managed a lot of things for me and helped me find balance through the many hard years of school, making sure I ate normal food and didn't just resort to takeout every single, making sure that a lot of the stuff at home was taken care of so that I could just study and focus on doing really well in school, passing my boards and getting a good job. So I feel like we just do it for each other. He helps me a lot with balance at home because I don't love to cook. So that is something I'm not efficient at, I'm not good at. But I will take shifts at the gym and wake up early. And, I'm used to waking up early for the hospital. So if I take a morning and he gets to sleep in, or if I take a night and then he can have, the full half of his day off, I think that helps. And I think for me, from a balance perspective, it doesn't feel like I'm forcing it when I'm taking those shifts because it's my outlet. I kind of see it is my job, but I have another job. And I think having two things that I really love to do is helpful, and they're so different. And yes, they take a lot of energy, they consume a lot of, emotional energy from helping sick people to helping healthy people stay healthy. I think it's two different sides of something very similar where you just want to help people. And so I'm grateful that I have that outlet and that when I get off a block of 3 shifts and I'm super tired and I have to wake up the next morning to do the 5:30, 6:30, 8 in the morning, I'm like
Mhm.
excited to do that because I also think the people who are there make it worth it. People who show up are really coachable. They love to work out. They're showing up in the morning to get their day started right. And I think that that's one of the best things that you can help someone with. So I think that's how I found my balance is that I see it as kind of a privilege to have these two things that I really love to do and help people like love to come to the gym. So many
It's
people hate
really
going to the gym and like to help be the reason that people like want to stay healthy and work out, I think is really cool.
it's really great too that you guys can help each other figure out like where to fill in the cracks without killing each other. Because a lot of people I know in relationships, myself included, like I could never work with Matt. I would toss him out the window. Get out of my way, sir. No way.
Look,
Well,
we're not we're not going to sit here saying we're perfect. There's times when I would love to toss him out the window, and I'm sure he would do the same to me. But I think we complement each other really well. We've worked together for a lot of years. And through those years of him being my coach, being partners, moving to different countries, we've figured out where the gaps are in the other person,
Mhm.
how we can fill those through each other, I think.
I will say the hardest thing that's been able to balance is more just like on the personal side for us, because it's so easy for us to fill in the gaps for each other on the professional side that we have to actually like make an effort to say, hey, let's go to the beach. And that was like
Yeah.
the most recent thing that we did. And it took a little over 3 weeks to actually make that happen, a 30-minute car ride to go spend like 2 hours at the beach and come right back. But we needed it. And we needed that chance to just one, spend a little time together, but two, just not be in working.
Yeah. Don't you guys feel like the older we get, the more grown up we get, the further out you got to plan shit on the calendar? Like I swear, Steph, you
Yes.
and I do this sometimes. We're like, let's get together. I'm free the third week of October. Let's just put it in the calendar or else it won't happen. If we put it in, it'll happen. It is what it is.
Yes.
If it's not on the
Yes.
calendar, it doesn't
Live
happen.
live and die by the calendar. Live and die
Yeah.
by the
This
calendar. I stand by that my whole life.
this this is why I recommend divorce to all my friends because I have a
Yeah.
free life. It's great.
Great taking notes currently, John.
Yes.
Yes. Oh. I I wanted to add something that I think we talked about a little bit earlier, and I was just having thoughts about it. You saying, John, I think you said that you think that the CrossFit gym should be a little bit intimidating when people walk in. And I think I I've just been like stewing on that word. And I think for me, what I think that a lot of gyms lack and maybe why you think that there's this decline in CrossFit, that it's on the way down, is that it's professionalism to me. Like intimidating, I get what you mean. Like you want to walk in and think that it's like a professional facility. You want the coach to greet you. You want them to be like on it, ready to coach you on time. Like you're there to get something done, and you want them to also feel like they need to help you get something done. I feel like that's something that we've tried to build into the fabric of CrossFit Attain. And I feel the hard balance is that like what makes CrossFit, I think, is the community, like you mentioned, is that like people are having fun and they're enjoying their time with their friends, but they're also like in a professional environment. And I think a lot of gyms err too far on the side of like community, that like that's what's keeping people there, or that's what people come for, and like they do come for that, but it needs to also be a professional space. And I think that's what makes
Mhm.
CrossFit really unique, is that we can ride this balance of, Globo Gym, they say hi when you walk in, and then no one really cares like how long you stay, what you do, if you walk on the treadmill or like stare at yourself in the mirror, like no one cares. Versus like a CrossFit gym where people come for a community, but you also want it to be that space where you're paying for something, and you're gonna end a testing cycle with results. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
see something
Yeah.
measurable.
Yeah. I think people
It's
want to be
important.
challenged. That's the thing for me is I remember my experience vividly starting. And so when I say I want it to be intimidating, I want people to walk in the door and have the same experience I had, which is you walk in, you're like, oh shit, everybody in here is so fit. I want that. That was my feeling.
You
This is
want
what it
to
was.
attain
Yes, I
that?
wanna attain that. No, but this is what happened for me. I walk in the door and there was a woman doing push press, and she probably had 10s on the bar, but I didn't know what rubber plates were at the time. I thought she had 200 pounds on the
Yeah,
bar,
she looked badass.
and she was ripped, and she was ripping these things out, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this woman's, like, infinitely stronger than me. I want that. I wanna
Mhm.
be strong." Like, I immediately wanted it. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget that and I've never have forgotten that feeling, and I've never gotten strong, but that's my fault, not hers. The point is, though, is like I came in and I saw it, and it wasn't, to your point, Steph, it wasn't about the community for me. They had something I wanted that I could not attain on my own, but I knew they could give it to me because I could visually see it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And run gyms, and that's why I love this concept of, kind of small classes, 10 people, coached, intimate, because you can do that. You can demonstrate that in a small class. In a large class, a lot of bad shit can happen. You
Yeah.
got 30 people, you got people tripping over boxes and hurting themselves and just doing ridiculous things sometimes. But in that class size, I can just visualize it coming in, and you see people getting fitter and you're like, man, this is the stuff. And that's what you want.
Okay, I will say,
Yeah.
not to just fully shit on giant classes all the time, because I do love a 30-person Saturday morning partner wad. I do love that vibe sometimes too. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think, John, earlier you were talking about, what different CrossFit gyms bring to the brand. And we're very unique and we're all trying to sell the same product, but it can have a very different flavor. And
Yeah.
so like, the gym down the street can have 30-person classes. And if community is like the big draw for you and you just want to like connect with other people and you really don't care too much about like results or coaching, it's going to be a great place for you. You're going to love it there every day. But if you are more focused on coaching and getting better and having a better relationship with the staff, then like our place is going to be better. If you put somebody from gym A into our place, they're not going to like it. They're going to hate it. They're going to quit within a week. So I like that we can have this different flavor than what a lot of other gyms are currently trying to get to.
Yeah, and I think opening an affiliate nowadays with that very specific mindset is the only way to survive. Because if you were just like, oh, I saw this gym down the street and they were doing great and I want to do the same thing, like you would not thrive because that already exists down the street. So I get what you guys are saying. And I totally get too, John, what you mean about like you want it to be hard because you don't ever want to leave a CrossFit gym is not the kind of place where you go for a workout and you leave being like, well, that was kind of easy.
Right.
But I also understand what Steph is saying on a level of professionalism because that really lends to the environment where you're like, dang, I want this. And one of my girlfriends just recently dropped into a gym that is like very well known and told me that she was kind of disappointed by the fact that all the equipment was really old. Like it was very outdated. It didn't look like a lot of like time or effort or money had been put back into the gym. And it surprised me because I was like, oh dang, that's an affiliate that I have heard of, that is like supposedly top tier. And so that experience kind of changed how she felt about even how hard it was or what she gained from it there or whatever. It's all kind of woven together. No pressure. Just got to get it all right, you know?
There's a balance to all of it. I hear that complaint some about equipment, but I'm gonna guess I'm leaning toward Rob and Steph's vision here. I think it's important to have good equipment, but I just think of old kettlebells. Those are the ones that always get beat up. I can't even remember what any kettlebell I've ever used has looked like if the coach is making me use it the right way.
It's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
that's a hard implement, right? And all I'm thinking about is not dying. I don't care if this thing's old or beautifully clean. If the coach is involved with me. Now, when I'm doing my own thing and screwing around, I might and look around, and if you have time to look around and notice how much chalk is on the floor and whether some of this equipment is beat up, you probably aren't being coached hard enough or thinking about the workout the right way. But your point's well
Yeah.
taken. Like you also don't want the place to be beat up and look like hell. Like
Yeah.
there is a
Like you have an
balance.
expectation of professionalism. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
It's like you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
an expectation that things are going to not, that you're not going to get that vibe.
Yeah, yeah. There's absolutely a balance. And
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you
yeah.
can, for us anyways, I've always felt like you can extrapolate what the facility looks like and how much the coaches are going to care about you. Now, it's not always the case. I think that you like we've all been to gyms probably where the equipment was older and the coaching was incredible, but I think that it's that first impression, especially when someone new walks in, you want to see weights that look good and you want to see that the place is taken care of and you want to then walk into class and see immediately notice who the coach is. You want to without a shirt on, without a branded shirt on, you want to look around the room and say that person's the coach because I see them helping that person. It's not just everyone moving fast and the coach like changing the music or like clapping and counting down the clock. Like you want to see them going up to someone while they're moving with intensity, fixing their form, going to the next person, saying anything to them, fixing their form, paying attention to people. I think that lends to the whole impression of the place is like what the facility looks like, how it's taken care of, and then how the coach takes care of its people. I think it's kind of all one bundle, at least the way I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that too is I think this is a little bit of a crisis for CrossFit that they have to figure out is the disparity between gyms of, to your point, how nice some of them are, and to Nikki's point, how beat up some of them are. I just think we have a gym here in Cleveland called C4. This place is a palatial mansion. It is the
Ooh,
nicest, most beautiful gym you've ever seen,
okay.
ever. Like AstroTurf, and they probably have 30 bikes and 15 of each type, and they're all beautiful. And like the whole place is just absolutely spectacularly gorgeous. Sits on the lake, like it's unreal. And then my gym's old, right? And we're not beat up by any stretch of imagination, but they look wildly different visually, And I think of that, and it's just I know it's not a franchise, but you expect a similar experience in each one. And I think both of our gyms do give a similar experience, but visually they're wildly different. And
Yeah, I
CrossFit's
think
going to have to kind of figure that out at some point because what ends up happening isn't just visual. Like you've got probably gyms down the street from you guys that have 4 bikes and all 4 of them are broken.
I
You know
Right.
think
what I
that's the
Yeah.
mean?
difference.
Yeah. To me, it's less oh, your barbells don't match and they're old. It's more to Steph's point of, does this place look like it's been taken care of? And
Yeah.
if someone walks into the gym like the way my friend walked into that gym and was like, oh no, that's a problem. I don't think, no one's expecting rather inspecting the bars and being like, this one's from here and that one's from there, and why don't they match? It's if that's the impression you get, then there's an issue.
Yeah, and I think, like, to what John was saying, I actually see less of a problem in the fact that gyms are different. I think it's, like, kind of nice sometimes when if someone is gym do you lose me again?
Yep, you're there.
Nikki's for oh, okay. My I'm watching my internet bars very closely. I think to me, I see less of an issue with is the are the facilities different? I think the issue that I see is that, like, you can go into a class and how much coaching you get, and that to me is like one place lets you, squat not to depth, knees are caving, like back is rounded out on deadlifts versus one place you go to is very particular about form and coaching. And I think that to me, that difference between facilities is the issue that needs to be sorted out. And because that ultimately is the impressions that someone gets and it's why they hear from their friends, oh, like my cousin did CrossFit and he got hurt,
Yeah.
or like I tried it once, but it didn't work for me because like I wasn't sure I was moving or no one said anything to me about it, that kind of thing. I think that's what gives CrossFit the bad rap more, that difference more than just anything like facility equipment wise.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we could do another whole friggin' 5-hour episode on on that, and how I don't think, I mean, that's the entire CrossFit model is never really going to pay attention to that kind of thing, gym to gym to gym, because sort of the foundational thought process is the good gyms will thrive and the bad gyms that don't offer any of the excellent training or equipment or whatever, insert thing here, will just fail. And that's why we can open CrossFit gyms right across the street from one another, because the cream will rise to the top and it will carry everything else with it too. That's the thought process, at least.
But who do you lose in that process? So who has
Oh,
gone
yeah.
into that bad gym, had that bad experience, and now I'm never going to go to CrossFit again?
Oh, yeah. No,
Mhm.
make no mistake. I don't agree with that philosophy. I
Yeah.
just know that that's how it is.
That was Greg's philosophy back in the early 2000s, and in those days, in the good old days, you could get away with that. But CrossFit was not an established brand and the ethos. Now you hear the word CrossFit on Family Guy, for God's sakes. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
an established name that people are familiar with and recognized on the same level as all professional sports, really.
Mhm.
So, we're in a much different environment now. So I do think they have to figure this out for affiliate owners and help get more consistency from brand to brand. Because that's my fear, is that you've got someone that goes to the gym down the street and they have a terrible experience, and maybe they live closer to you guys and they hear about it, but they're never going to set foot in your gym because of some, ratty experience somewhere else. And there's just some of the stuff they've got to figure out from a corporate level to help the affiliates have a little more consistency so we have a better chance at success for everyone. That's all.
This podcast might not be the right time for it, but I'd love to go down that rabbit hole with you and, talk through options of what that would actually look like. Does HQ step in and come take classes at every affiliate and give a score? Do they give recommendations on facility improvements and that kind of stuff?
Oh, I think they should. Yeah, I'll go down that rabbit hole for days. I I mean, I'll catch the wrath of a lot of affiliate owners for saying that, but I think they do need to have a much more formal strategy down the road. They're trying to do it now. You can see little slivers of it. Like, people will raise hell about me saying this, but the raising the affiliate fee was the first step to that. Yes, it generated more revenue, but it also increases the, I don't want to call it professionalism or ownership, but it raises the table stakes when you're a new affiliate owner. It hurt those that have been around for 10 years. And those are the ones to be pissed at me saying that. But the new people coming in, like you guys, it makes you think when you're going from 1,500 to or 3,000 to 4,500. Now you're like, an extra 1,500 bucks, a lot of money. Like, I got to consider, is this the right decision? Right. And then saying, all right, you have to have the level two. That's another 1,000 bucks. Right. So now I'm a couple of thousand extra dollars I got to spend, and I got to keep renewing that. And so they're trying to layer some stuff in that will force increased professionalism and table stakes and ownership and that sort of thing. And I think you'll see it coming down the pipe where they require certain things in gyms. I don't know what those things are off the top of my head, but I would imagine, to your point, maybe it will be site visits at some point. You
I
know,
think there should be a CrossFit inspector, like the food inspector, right? Or like the health inspector that comes to restaurants in the city that drops into your affiliate unannounced and leaves you a grade and puts the grade up on the window so that people can decide whether or not they want to come eat at your restaurant, but it's an
well,
affiliate. I'm here for this. Yours has roaches. You get a D.
I think it's
really hard to do, but
I think
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
so hard to
impossible.
implement, so hard to implement. I think that the idea is great. I think it comes down to accountability. Like the CrossFit model, the CrossFit mentality has been like, as you said, Nikki, people will choose, right? The market will choose. So the market will weed out gyms that aren't good. They'll go to better ones. But the problem is where there are no better ones,
Yeah.
opened, or there's no capacity or whatnot. I don't think it holds up in reality. People,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times also people don't know what they don't know. If they've never been coached, they started a gym where they're not getting coached. They don't know what it's like to move better, to see, the benefits of efficient movement, with someone who is very particular about how they lift a bar, for example. I think they don't know. Like they're not gonna why are they gonna leave if they're all their friends are there, they're happy there for all they know. I don't think that gyms are going to be driven down by people. I think the accountability is what you need. So whether it's site visits, which will likely never happen. I don't know that they
Yeah.
have the
Yeah. There's no
manpower to
way.
do that, but any kind of accountability, to John's point, regulating anything would be helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything.
they could. The problem is it's an affiliate, not a franchise, right? So it's hard to
Right.
enforce this stuff. But if it were me and no one at CrossFit's, well, actually, at least one or two people CrossFit will hear this. So if they hear it, I hope they take note of this. Here's what I would do. Here's the world according to Wooly. What I would do is I would take a new affiliate like yourself and say, you got to pay all the same stuff you guys paid. You pay your $1,000 application fee, $4,500 to get in. So it's cost you almost, 5, 6 grand, and then you got to pay for your licenses. So you're, let's just call it 10 grand to get in the door. That's, before you buy equipment, right? But that's what you're paying me. And then for the next 2 years, you're going to pay $4,500 each year, regardless of what happens. I don't give a shit what happens to your affiliate. You're going to pay it either way. But in year 4, I'm going to come inspect your business. And if you're running top notch and it looks great still, I'm going to reduce your affiliate fee. You give people incentive to stay open, right? And I'm going to come back at year 5 and I'm going to do it again. Because once affiliates are past year 5, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to have a pretty good guess. They're going to stick around for a while. Like affiliates die by year 3. So if they get past that, you could really keep your net growth by incenting them to stay by lowering their affiliate fees, which I know sounds crazy since they
Interesting.
just raised everybody else's, but you would be encouraging consistency by saying, here are the 15 things we're going to come look at. We're going to do it randomly. If you hit all 15, I'm going to drop you by this much. If you only get 10, I'm going to drop you by this much. You give people incentive to continue to think about upgrading their facilities and keeping them clean and good coaching and all that stuff. I'm just full of
And
ideas, Nick.
your years have to reset if your affiliate changes ownership.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me if when you're really thinking about how do we get consistency from affiliate to affiliate and, yeah, and you could go and they could go back now and go to some of these 10-year affiliates that they just raise their fees and say, "Hey, here's the criteria. We'll be back in 12 months and we might lower your fees if you can do this." And let all these OGs that are complaining that are probably in these dirty gyms that Hickey was talking about clean their shit up over the next 12 months and get your fees reduced.
That's
You
cool
know?
too because it's like a improvement plan. It's
Yeah.
not like we came in and checked out your gym and you were having a bad day, so now I'm shutting you down. It's no, let's work together to get your business where we needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
all.
John, you said the word consistency, and I think that's the word that people don't really align with affiliate. And I think you outline like what should be consistent. Like I think we can all agree a clean bathroom is a good
Yeah.
consistent to have across all affiliates. Your programming doesn't have to be the same. You don't have to have the same brand of equipment. Yeah, your coach should be wearing sneakers and not flip flops. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are easy, consistent things that we can have across all different gyms.
You need AEDs and,
Oh,
I mean, come on. Like
who
I've
doesn't?
personally,
This is so bad.
there are gyms that don't. And I've been in 2 gyms that have had heart attacks where they've had to bring people back to life. Like,
That is insane.
but that's an example of there have to be hundreds, maybe
Oh,
thousands
yeah.
that don't, and then so,
So
the
bad.
little things like that, it isn't going to be go buy 15 Echo bikes. I mean,
Right.
make sure the floors are clean, make sure there's not chalk all over every single aspect of your building, have coaches actually opening and closing on time, really simple things that any gym can do to provide a great experience.
And I do think that that could evolve someday into somehow evaluating the maybe not the programming necessarily, but the coaching efficacy because if you go back 2 or 3 conversations ago, we were all talking about how you really want to have the good experience at the affiliate so that you don't get hurt, so that something bad doesn't happen. I mean, that's tougher, right? Because it's also subjective. But there's got to be a way to level up a quote unquote inspection to figure out if the quality of the brand is being maintained in the gym too. And that's probably not like a pass fail situation, but it would be really cool for them to eventually just establish something, even if it is like I don't know, at work, it's like you're on like the performance improvement track. We've
Well,
got recommendations on how you can actually improve your coaching or your experience or whatever so that you're one of the great gyms that continues to survive.
what if they said something along the lines of, "Hey, we're coming back at year 3, and once you've met these benchmarks, we're going to give you 3 free L2s." How valuable would that be for Rob and Steph who have coaches they've hired that need the L2? Now you're
Mhm.
leveling up your coaching, right? There's so many things like that that the company itself could invest in that, yes, would cost them some revenue, but it's an investment in the long-term strategy for those affiliates. So they're not tapping out at year 3 and going and becoming High Rocks gyms. Like that's the point.
I think to Rob's point, the, you know, whether HQ, I know HQ cares whether they're losing affiliates or not. Of course they do. But the bigger issue is if a person has a bad experience at one of these gyms or has an issue, then they associate it with all of CrossFit. It's very hard to say.
Correct.
Yep.
It's very hard to say, oh, it was that location. Maybe I'll just go try another one. Like someone who's not, into CrossFit, maybe has been doing it a week, less than a month is going to just say, oh, it's got to just be CrossFit. They're not going to be like, let me shop around for other gyms and see if I can have
Right.
a better experience. So I think that that's the big loss in not standardizing these things. And then, whether the gym turns into a High Rocks gym or not, that gym maybe has turned away a bunch of people from our sport.
Yeah.
What's interesting about CrossFit, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I think gyms are no different than people. The beauty of CrossFit is we're almost teaching our members to go do this themselves. Like after you've done CrossFit enough years, you kind of don't really need a coach. It's just I don't fully believe that, but I think that's part
I
of
think
it.
you
Where
do.
you can go out and you can go out and into the world and work out at home and build a home gym
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do this stuff on your own, right? Like you're encouraging people to learn how to do the movements and get proficient so they can go do things on their own. And the gyms are no different. Once you've run this thing for 3 years and you've built your members where you're earning a good living, do you really need the CrossFit name anymore? Probably not. But those of us that love CrossFit would say yes. And I would want people to stay. And that's my point is I think CrossFit has to figure out a way to encourage people to not want to drop the affiliate name and do something else, but continue to teach CrossFit, which is what's going to happen if they don't find ways to invest in this. That's all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know though, because Rob said 50% of the people that have walked into their new affiliate recently have never been to a CrossFit gym before. And so, but had heard of it. And so at least today there's still value in the brand. Clearly.
There's absolutely value in the brand. My point is once you build a gym to a point where you're earning money, like I can't tell you how many affiliate owners say to me, like my gym's a good example. We don't need the CrossFit brand. we could unaffiliate tomorrow and make the exact same amount of money this year that we did the year before, and we would next year too.
And
We keep it.
you don't worry about turnover where
No, we
people wouldn't necessarily wander in because of the name or not.
maybe, but we believe in the CrossFit brand. We love the CrossFit brand. We want people to come find us because they want to do CrossFit and be a part of that, which is why we keep it. But we could run the business without it. Like it's possible. My only point in all of this, isn't that I'm encouraging people to leave the brand. It's the opposite. I want to see CrossFit invest in the affiliates so they stick around for 10 years
Yeah.
and 15 years. And I think they have to do more than what we led this conversation with, which was in the old days. Greg was like, you want to open up across the street from CrossFit Attain? Go right ahead. Like they didn't give a shit. Like they were like, whatever. You guys could be next door to each other. The fittest will survive. And that just doesn't hold true in today's environment with the amount of competition that's
Yeah.
out there.
It's
You know?
evolved for
Yeah,
sure.
it's completely changed.
Yeah.
So
I agree with your point. I don't know that I have a lot of insight into like how CrossFit can make CrossFit gyms want to stay affiliated. We would for the same reason that we love CrossFit and we want to be named CrossFit Attain, not, Attain Fitness or something like that. But I have to play devil's advocate. I do think you still need a coach because I still value coaching. Like every time Rob comes into the gym and I have the music blasting, I'm working out by myself and he's drive your knees out. I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Uh-huh.
you can do this for the longest time and you can forget the simplest things. I think a really good example, we have 2 members now. They're a couple. They did CrossFit pre-pandemic, kind of built their own home gym, did it for themselves from the pandemic up until now. And we opened and they came and joined. And they were like, it is wonderful to have coaching. They were like, we haven't had this in years. Finally, like we're starting back at the beginning. We're going to go through and work through the basics. And every day I hear like from one or the other that they're just like psyched to have someone watching their form and that they don't have to guess about doing something and be like, what was it? I think, so damn, am I back? Okay.
you're back.
No matter how
Good.
long you've been in a sport, I can speak for myself included. Like I've been in this a long time now, unfortunately, and like also competing. I still value coaching. And I think that a lot of people should if they're getting good coaching.
I think everyone should. I just am a realist that I know there are a lot of people out there. They're like, oh, I'm fit enough. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not everyone's as obsessive as we all. Like, I was laughing to myself today that I'm like, how did I become this obsessive? About everything, like everything in my life. I'm like, oh, totally obsessive, which is why I need a coach to keep me reined in. Otherwise, I just do really stupid shit. But
Right.
there are plenty of people in the world that are like, this is good enough. And I'm jealous of those people that are, have the dad bods and can just rip their shirt off and drink a beer and feel great about themselves. Like I can't do that, like I got to beat myself silly to maintain my dad bod that I'll never show off.
I love that. I love that Steph listens to Rob's coaching because I cannot for the life of me get Matt to listen to my coaching. For
No,
the life. No, I can't. And even the other day, he PR'd his clean and jerk. And I was like, damn, like you pressed out that jerk at that really heavy weight. How did you even do that? I don't understand it. And I said it in class and it was like one ear out the other, whatever, whatever. And then last night he had the coach, I was not coaching, I was just in class, but the coach had taken a video and sent it to him and he had to slow it down and to show me. And I was like, right there. That's where you pressed out the jerk. And he was like, oh my God. And I'm like, I said it live. I didn't need that slow motion and you
right.
still didn't listen to me. But he doesn't listen to this podcast, so it's fine.
It is impressive when spouses listen to each other. Again, why I recommend divorce to all my friends.
No, I know. I
So
feel like we're proving your point.
I know.
I mean, listen, like I'm not gonna say I don't resist it. Like the other day, I finished a workout, like I was in class, I finished a workout kind of fast, was happy with myself. He walks right over and he goes, rest it till 10 and then you're going again in reverse. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was saying some bad words in my head. I was like, I just crushed that workout. And also it was not fun. And I am a class athlete now. I do not need to redo that workout in reverse. No way. I say, no, I don't need that. And then 6 minutes, 7 minutes, I was
Mhm.
like, maybe. And then at 8, I was like, reset the clock. I'll go again. And
Mhm.
I was like, it's not going to be fast though.
My
And
coach
then
did
it
that
still
to me
was
the
too
other
fast.
day. That's the worst. I
Yeah.
was literally laying on the floor. I forget what the workout was, but we started with ski erg and we are doing sprints for 30 seconds with 30 seconds rest for 10 minutes. That's how we started the workout. And then in between that, we had another 20 minutes of some bullshit. And when we finished, I'm laying on the floor near death. And she looks at me. She's 3 minutes from now, we're doing the ski erg again for 10 minutes. And I'm like, what? That wasn't on the board. That wasn't part of the agreement. Like I didn't sign up. I'm literally dying. Like I couldn't breathe. I'm just laying there. And then typical, same experience as you. About a minute later, I'm starting to recover and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna be recovered enough. I got to do this. And so I had to get up and do it, you know.
Yeah.
And then I told her afterwards, I'm like, this is the value of a coach because there is zero chance I would have done that. None.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to say that I immediately turned around like a good athlete and was like, yes, I will. I was swearing in my head and I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, everyone's going to be done by then. I'm not doing it. And then slowly you realize that the coach is right.
My
At
swearing
least
was not
it's
in my
not a
head.
problem.
Yeah, my swearing was not in my head, Steph. It was out loud, right to her face. I'm like, fuck you. I am not doing that. And then I did it. So
Are
that's
you guys, I was just gonna say, Rob, are you accepting new members still? Are you trying to fill out the gym? Like what's going on?
We are. So right now we've got our morning classes. So at 5:30, 6:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then our evening shift, 4, 5, 6. And once we start to fill up those time slots, we'll begin to add some more. But really the additions are going to come from feedback from our community. So the people that, want, whether it be 11 o'clock, noon, some extra weekend classes, all that feedback will come from the people that are members.
And for anyone who happens to be listening in or around Massachusetts, how can they find you, get in
Yeah.
touch, all that good
Yep.
stuff?
CrossFit Attain on Instagram or CrossFitAttain.com. And right there, you can sign up for a free trial. Come check it out. See what it's like.
love it. I need a road trip, Nikki. Let's go to CrossFit Attain and do a workout together.
It's actually really close.
Yes.
I wanted very badly to come to the open house a few weekends ago, but newborns. That's just where I'm at in life. But
Oh,
it is
man.
really close to me, John. So if you were to just
Yeah,
come visit here and babysit my kid,
I
then
can do
I could
that.
go up to CrossFit Attain. It'd be great.
I can do that. I had 2 babies that survived under my watch. Yours will be just
I
fine.
know. Come on
That'll be good.
over.
And Nikki, just to
Well,
stay on brand with all the food, there's a great pizza place around the corner. We'll train.
Oh,
We'll go get a couple different
perfect.
pizzas. It'll be fantastic.
perfect. I was going to say, I'll bring that. We won't eat for 3 days. It'll be perfect.
Love it. All right. It's been fun, guys. Thank you for joining and
Yeah.
congratulations on your gym. That's super exciting for you guys.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We appreciate you having us.
Anytime. Anytime. Nikki, go get some pizza. I think you need some. You've talked about it like 4 times now. So I think you need some pizza.
It's
I'm in
really
that
good pizza.
I'm in that phase of nursing where I'm always hungry 24/7 and I like low key want to wake up in the middle of the night and have a snack. So pizza
Do
sounds
it.
great.
I
Well, you
encourage
know where
that.
to find us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
All right. Thanks, guys, for being on and everyone for listening. We appreciate you guys joining and we'll chat with you guys soon.